スイス国公使から抗議文が外務省に送られたときに、いかにこれを取り扱ったかという箇条でありまするが、その抗議文の写し及び訳文を陸軍省の方に送った際に、他の送り先が括弧の中で陸軍次官、軍務局長及び不慮情報局長官となっておりまするが、この and というところはまたは or としていただいた方が事実に即して正確であると思います。
With respect to the other sections,
please. This phase of the prosecution case covers offences under Article 5B of the Charter, that is, violations of the laws and customs of war, and comprises evidence of atrocities against prisoners of war, civilian internees, and inhabitants of occupied territories, and evidence showing the responsibility for such atrocities of the defendants named in counts 53, 54, and 55 of the indictment. Evidence of atrocities in China and the Philippine Islands has already been presented. That which will now be presented will relate to other areas.
ブライアン氏を紹介いたします。
Mr. President, the witnesses in court will now be sworn. Do you swear by Almighty God that the evidence which you shall give before this tribunal shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. President, the witness is sworn.
What is your full name?
My full name. あなたのお名前は
My full name is Colin Fleming Bryan. 私の姓名はコリン・フレミング・ブライアンであります。
You reside where?
あなたはどこにお住みですか
Sydney, Australia. As a soldier in the 8th Division, IOF, and was serving in Malaya.
Where were you wounded?
I was landed on the 9th of February, and on that day lost contact with my unit. 私は reached Singapore City.
26日
6th of February, I was captured by the Japanese forces and taken to a divisional or corps headquarters, which was formerly a Roman Catholic convent on the outskirts of Singapore. I was interrogated by a Japanese officer, and during my period there, I was stationed or quartered in these headquarters, and whilst there, noticed several senior Japanese officers entering and leaving the building, and whilst there was also given food and water, but at no time was my wounds treated. Yes, quite a few Japanese officers came over, looked at me, and they included senior officers. 日本人しませんでした。In the morning, a Japanese officer approached me, beckoned me to follow him. In his right hand was a pistol, and in his left hand was a quantity of cord to go along a track leading into the jungle, and he was accompanied by 2 or 3 Japanese soldiers. Into a clearing in which there was a platoon of Japanese soldiers drawn up in parade order, a group of 12 to 15 Japanese officers, and a freshly dug grave about 2 feet 6 inches in depth, and also there was also a Japanese sword sticking in the earth close to the grave. A Japanese officer then told me that I was going to meet my God, and then searched, and after being searched, I was told to sit down with my knees, legs and feet projecting into the grave. My hands, a small towel was tied over my eyes, and then my shirt was unbuttoned and pulled back over my back, exposing the lower part of my neck.
私の
Went forward, and after a few seconds, I felt a heavy, dull blow sensation on the back of my neck. I realized I was still alive, but pretended to be dead and fell over on my right side.
私はまだ生きている
I lost consciousness. When I came to, I was at the bottom of the grave with wooden palings and earthen clods over the top of the grave.
私は
Wound on the back of my neck, and I was covered in blood.
私の
My hands were still tied behind my back. The towel had fallen from my eyes, and after an hour, I decided to extricate myself.
私は
Toes and feet, I managed to dislodge a pile of clods from the opening of the grave, and through the intervening space managed to crawl. I then struggled into the lalling grass and lay there all day. That night I managed to untie my hands.
それから
For the next 3 days, I left it and struggled into Singapore City, where I gave myself up to the Malay Civil Police.
それから
On the 4th of March, I was handed over to the Japanese forces, who further interrogated me, after which I was taken to Changi Prisoner of War Hospital.
3月4日
And then until June of the same year.
そこで同年の
6月以降あなたはずっとその主張した部分を法廷に見せてください。
One of my colleagues questioned whether this kind of thing is necessary.
私の同僚の一人はこんなことは必要であるかということについて疑っております。
Personally, I think it is, but I'll take the decision of all my colleagues.
私個人としての同感でありますが、他の同僚と相談しています。
私自身は必要と思いますがね
You may show your room to the extent that you intended.
ではあなたは、その主張したところを見せてください。
一応と思った程度です。
We will recess now until 1:30.